Every day is a chance to win or to lose. What you did yesterday in your business, what you did yesterday at the gym, what you did yesterday to level up in your knowledge or in your network doesn't really matter. Every single day you need to show up because you're only as good as your last shot. You're only as good as your last win. You're only as bad as your last loss. But every day the clock resets to reshape your future. The clock resets for you to reset the direction of your life. And I see a lot of people reminiscing on one side on their past wins. So they live in ancient glory that nobody really gives a fuck about, or they live in their past failures, which keeps them down because they assume that their past failures dictate their current situation. But like a science experiment, you're going to fail multiple times. It's just part of the equation. And when you understand that failing is simply part of the equation, you no longer hold on to, oh, well, am I going to fail today? Am I going to mess up today? No, you're going to continue leveling up. You're going to continue being in a situation where you show up every single day and give it your all. Every day is a new shot for you to change your life. Every day is a new shot for you to reinvent yourself. If you understand the power that when the sun comes up, it's a new opportunity for you to live your life, a new life of purpose, a new life of achievements, and a new life of success. You wake up with intention. Stop waking up like an accident. Start waking up with purpose and understand that nobody is coming to save you. Nobody in the world gives a fuck about your problems, and you, my friend, have to handle it yourself. Wake up, walk with purpose, elevate and control what you can control today, and I promise you that you will be one step closer to living the life of your mother dreams. Seneca famously said that the mind focused on future events is miserable. I see so many people focusing on the things that they cannot control. They want to make $1 million, but obviously you can't dictate the specific day that you're going to become a millionaire. They want to develop a better physique, but you can't specifically dictate the day where you'll be proud of the body that you have if you're overweight or if you're too skinny. You need to understand that you can't be focused on the future. What you need to be focused is on the present moment. What you can control today, the habits that you input today, the amount of work ethic and good attitude that you portray today. These are the things that matter. The Stoics used to speak about these things because it is so easy to either reminisce in the past or to be conjuring imaginary scenarios of the future, oftentimes negative, that lead a present moment of stress and a state of being miserable. So if you want to be in a life that is full of equanimity. Equanimity means the calmness of the soul, and a life that is full of peace. You need to be here now, focusing on what you can control. If you want to make more money, perfect, clock in. If you want to become more financially literate, you're gonna have to pick up the books and get educated. If you want a better physique, you're gonna have to eat healthier food, and you're gonna have to exercise. Not focused on the future, but focused on what you can do today. And by natural law, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The universe will give you exactly what you deserve. Don't live a life of misery by living in the past or living in the future, but live a life of peace and equanimity by being here right now.
Obsession beats talent every single time. I've never seen it in my life where even if an extremely talented person beats the most obsessed individual who looks at their goals and decides to go after them with everything that they have. Obsession is key because it requires persistence. And if you want to accomplish your goals, it requires building blocks. And these building blocks take time, and perseverance and dedication and obsession to perfect your craft is what's going to set you apart and what's going to differentiate you in the marketplace from your competitors and so on and so forth. So the question is, are you obsessed with winning? Are you obsessed with leveling up? Or are you just depending on your talent? You know, the small God-given skills that you have that you're leveraging to just get by. If you want to become average, that's okay. But understand that if you want to get to the next level in your life and the next level of your business, you need to focus. This obsession needs to be not unhealthy, but it needs to be productive, and it needs to be purpose-driven. And when you understand that obsession is there to fuel you and it's there to keep you on track, well then, the game is very easy and the world is yours for the taking. So the question is, will you be obsessed or will you be average? Choice is yours.
Seneca famously said, while we wait for life, life passes. When you understand that your days are counted, that your days are limited. You begin to work with urgency towards your goals. You begin to work with urgency towards the things that you want in life. People say, well, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll get started when the new year hits. It doesn't work that way. Life passes you by with no urgency, but day by day. And so many people live and wake up like accidents that they forget this beautiful principle that life is in your control. And if you want to experience a certain type of outcome and a certain type of future, you must input the necessary labor today. Don't let life pass you by. If you can dream it, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. It can potentially become yours with the right energy input, the amount of work ethic necessary, and a good attitude. Understand that you have one life. How you live it is your choice, but life will pass you by. You don't want to be the person that wakes up 30, 40, 50 years from now and regrets what they did, regrets who they hung out with, regrets the decisions that they took, the inability to exercise at an early age, the inability to develop a massive quality network or to start that business that you always desired. Don't let life pass you by. Because if you do not take life by the horns, life will just continue flowing. You will either be a byproduct of chance or you will take life and own it because you're only as good as the decisions that you make.
If you're hanging out around negative crowds, how do you expect to have a good mindset? It can't happen because you haven't created the necessary groundwork for the seed to flourish.
So you curate as much of every environment as humanly possible.
The how is very simple. Choose what information you're feeding to yourself. The information isn't just through the ears, and it's not just reading. Information can be the people that you hang out with, the food that you eat, the thoughts that you have. All of these things is information that is dictating how you operate. And if you don't control these things and put them towards positivity, aka your ability to have an edge towards a better life as opposed to an edge towards a worse life, that's all it is. It's positioning, it's framing, and it's understanding that what you have to do in life is ride the wave of success.
The truth is, most people think that they are stronger than they actually are. Let me explain what I mean. The people you surround yourself with, the environments, the music you listen to, the food that you eat, the advice that you adhere to, all these things influence you. Have you never been around somebody who's extremely negative? Don't you literally feel that energy bouncing? And it feels pretty nasty. Your surroundings, the people that you position yourself with will dictate your future. Are your friends elevating you? Is your family pushing you forward? Are your circles and where you hang out designed to propel you to accomplish your goals? Because what doesn't add subtracts. What doesn't give to you takes away. So you must nurture yourself and position yourself in a situation where you win. Position yourself to win. Make it so hard to lose that it becomes easy to win. Your environments, your friends, your decisions will dictate your future. Pick wisely, and the world is yours for the taking. We do not learn in school, but in life. Life and our ability to interpret the things that happen to us give us the ability to focus and understand the things that we need to correct and improve on. To assume that one can only learn in a class environment, that the education that they receive must come from a school teacher, is an absolute fallacy. If you want to live a life of success, if you want to develop into a complete person, you must learn from life, the experiences, the people, the places that you go to, and understand that the culmination of your experiences is what gives you the knowledge to make better decisions for your future. Don't depend on some bullshit teacher out there that hasn't accomplished anything in life to tell you how to live, to impart upon you their limitations as to what reality has to give. If I'd listened to my teachers, well, I'd still be back in Argentina, probably working some bullshit 9-to-5 job, making a couple $100s a month, having to deal with fucking bullshit socialism and bullshit inflation. But I decided to learn from my experiences. I decided to put myself in situations that were uncomfortable so that I could grow and become better. And by doing so, and by developing a complete mind, I became better. And the better you become, the better life gets.
The destination everybody looks at, right?
Nobody looks at the process. But when you look at the process, that's the prize. And the truth is, the price of progress is pain. The price of progress is pain. Most people do not want to experience pain. They like comfort. So if you want progress, you must be willing to, in the process, experience pain so that you may achieve your goal.
How you do the small things is how you do the big things. Because the small things, just like the big things, showcase your character. They showcase your nature. They showcase who you are. Not who you are in front of others, who you are by yourself, in private, when the doors are closed. So having an understanding of how to improve that individual is important. Most people settle for average. They settle for bad decisions. They settle for self-sabotage. And a lot of it comes from, which is the second part, not listening to God. God is the answer to everything. He's the answer to a successful marriage, a successful business, a healthy body, a healthy mind. God is the answer to everything. When was the last time you asked God for financial advice? I know that sounds crazy to many people. When was the last time you asked God for advice in your marriage? Yeah, you ask God to heal certain parts of your life, but not everything. You ask him for advice in certain things, but you neglect them in other things. I want to listen to God. And that is the guiding principle that allows you to live in flow, because you live in a state of obedience. At least I try to. I'm not perfect, very far from it. But if you understand your nature and then you ask God to bless you, ask God to guide you, he will. Why would you fight the creator of the universe? I ask God to show me what I need to fix, which is the truth. And if you obey the truth, your life improves. If you disobey the truth that God tells you, you will continue to suffer, because God is telling you the truth so that you can live a blessed life, not for you to live in suffering because he loves you. And the objective is for you to live a good life. And a good life is based on his design, not on your design, not on how you want to live. There's rules to the game. You have to follow the rules of the game. And if you follow the rules of the game, you live a good life. If you don't follow the rules of the game, then the game plays against you. And that's why most people feel like they're not advancing in life, because they're not following God. They're following their own wisdom, their own desires, their own thoughts, their own ambition. They've never even considered God in their life. Yet God is the one that's given them everything. And unless you give God everything and are willing to lay everything down to follow him, to love him, to work for him, then he's not going to bless you. And that's a promise.
Every single day, you have a chance to determine whether that day will become a success or a failure. You're only as good as your last shot. You're only as good as your last win. A lot of people that live in past victories or past failures end up losing in life because they're reminiscing on the past. The past will not determine the future. You need to understand that every single day when you wake up, you have the ability to reset the clock, right? And you have the ability to reset the direction of your life. So if you were doing something yesterday that wasn't pushing you towards success, that doesn't define you. You can change, you can adapt, you can re-engineer your future by changing your habits. There's 3 things that I determined that are extremely important if you want to reshape your future. Number 1 is your work ethic. When you get back from work, right? I know we're tired, but do you clock in towards building your dream, towards building the avatar character that you have? Or are you just gonna doom scroll on TikTok and watch Netflix? Your work ethic is extremely important, and it costs nothing to have a strong work ethic. Now, you don't just wanna have a strong work ethic when you clock in. You wanna have a strong work ethic towards your dreams. Number 2 is a good attitude. Nobody will ever do business with somebody that has a shitty attitude. Nobody wants to be around those people, especially long term. You may get away with it for a little bit. But if you're a hater, if you're a loser, if you present yourself with negativity, people won't want to be around you. And it's free to have a good attitude. Number 1 is your work ethic. Number 2 is your attitude. And number 3 is your understanding that you need to be a student. What do I mean by this? I see so many brokies online, the haters online. They think they know everything. But you examine their bank account, you examine their network, you examine their connections, and you examined the plans that they have for the future, and they don't have a student's mind. They don't care to learn new things. But you need to understand that you don't know anything in order to progress. And all of these three things are absolutely free. A good attitude, a strong work ethic, and having a student's mind is what will push you towards success. It's what will propel you towards getting to the next level. And it costs no money. If you want to develop a stronger network, if you want to learn new skills, you need to be teachable, you need to have a good attitude, and you need to work your ass off every single day. I come from very little, but I used what I had at the time to my advantage. And I said, well, just because I was born into a family that didn't have a lot of money, doesn't mean I can't have a lot of money. Just because I don't know things today regarding a certain topic, the markets, building online businesses, managing teams, doesn't mean I can't learn these things. I can, and I will. And finally, when I present myself with my team, with my investors, with my partners, how do I present myself? With a good attitude, or I'm always hating on them, shitting on them, am I degrading them, or am I degrading myself? Good attitude, good work ethic, and have a student's mind. All these things are free. Exercise them, apply them, develop them, and you'll be one step closer to becoming successful. Very simple.